They wash your car. They serve you food. They may even teach your children. For much of recent history, American society and politics have been largely dominated by a fascinating culture, one full of secrets and mysteries yet unanswered. Today, we'll take an insider's glance at a remarkable people. Caucasians, striving towards the future. Historians can only speculate where Caucasians, also known as white people, came from. Recent research points to an area of the globe known as Europe, which contains the Caucasus region. Many years ago, scholars believe, Europe was the home to many great and powerful empires. However, like the pyramids of Egypt, today these empires are lost to time. What historians do know is that the Caucasians first began settling in America in the early 1600s. Soon after they arrived, the whites displayed the zeal and ingenuity trademarked to their race. Luck was on their side too, as the new settlers found themselves unaffected by diseases that ravaged the native population. These plucky immigrants began setting up farms, governments, and eventually an entire country. Despite their late start, by 1804, Caucasians ruled almost all of North America, stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. Once in America, whites were able to thrive economically, due in large part to their technological innovations and a cheap labor market. During these boom years, whites were also able to make great strides in improving the lives of others. In 1865, whites in America freed their slaves. By the early 1900s, they were setting up colonies and improving lives all over the world, from Cuba in the Caribbean to the Philippines and the East Indies. For just as zeal and inventiveness are native to the race, so too is generosity. Caucasians have continued to practice their magnanimity up until the present day. They've given equal voting rights to other races, helped in many governmental transitions the world over, and most of all, landed on the moon. Whites today. Whites today live all across the country, from Connecticut to California, from Vermont to Virginia. While, of course, there are differences, looking scientifically, we can examine several interesting biological traits of the Caucasians. Whites seem to be naturally drawn to many affluent careers. The ranks of doctors, lawyers, and stockbrokers are full of ambitious and driven whites. Also, most whites seem to have an aversion to city life, preferring instead to live in the spacious single-family homes in what are known as suburbs. However, a few intrepid pioneers have been reclaiming and revitalizing many major city centers. This exciting process is called gentrification, and while whites lack the firm culture of other races, they are not without their customs. Traditional Caucasian foods are customarily high in sugar and salt and include cheeseburgers, pizza, apple pie, and ice cream. And of course, for all whites, speed is the key. The faster, the better. Religiously, Caucasians belong to one of three major faiths: Christianity, Judaism, and atheism. Christians worship in a church and believe in one Caucasian God, whom they divide into three parts: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Christians believe that by following this God's tenets, they will live on forever after death. Jews worship in synagogues and also believe in one God, although they do not believe he is Caucasian. They also do not divide their God into three parts. Atheists do not worship anywhere. They do not believe in a God or in an afterlife. They do, however, believe in atheism. As with all cultures, whites experience discrimination and racism. Many whites today are stereotyped as narrow-minded, uptight, or square. The mainstream media often promotes such hateful stereotypes in its movies and television shows. As a result, many young whites grow up with mixed feelings about their culture, even going so far as to turn the word white into an insult, meaning out of touch and unfashionable. Many whites also feel discriminated against by governmental affirmative action programs, which offer preferential treatment towards non-whites. Despite their struggles, the future looks bright for Caucasians. Just consider these promising statistics. The President of the United States is white, as are 11 of his cabinet members. The frontrunner of the next presidential race is half white. 8 of the 9 Supreme Court justices are white. Whites make up an impressive 83% of the United States Congress. Many of the companies traded on the New York Stock Exchange are headed by whites. Wow! With numbers like these, it's no surprise that Caucasians look to make a big impact as we progress into the 21st century. This has been Cultures of the World presenting Caucasians, striving towards the future. Good night.
It sure looks